All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about our retirement accounts, or what we call growth. Now, we do have dividend paying assets in here, and we also have index funds in here. And this is for us to be able to pull from in our retirement. This is the backup plan, okay? Now, before we start, I have a Roth, my wife has a Roth. I have a traditional, my wife has a large traditional that she rolled over from a 401k. All right. And then we have a health savings account. These are the accounts we have that are included in this. Now, there's going to be some ins and outs of why we do things, and sometimes it is going to seem kind of strange, but it's also important to note that this is not all the money we have in these accounts. Some of them we're selling options on and we have stuff assigned. So those will not be included in this video. This is literally just the actual holdings we have and how they're held, okay? Now, there is some cash on the sidelines as well. So that's listed under SPACs because it's in Fidelity, which just means it's in a money market account collecting, I don't know, 3 or 4%. But let's get into the tablet here and I'll show you exactly what we have. All right, so now we're in the screen here. You can see we're on our growth portfolio. For those you don't know, we use a dividend tracker because we have this over multiple brokerages and it makes it easier for us to share it with you. They are not perfect, but I don't think any dividend tracker is. Their calendar gets a little wonky sometimes, and their income, because we are in yield max and other things, can get a little wonky. But generally speaking, I think it's a good way to track. They have a free and a paid version. There is a link below this video in our description box and the first pinned comment if you guys want to go check it out. Now, so $171,708.91 is our overall portfolio value. As I said, that does not account for things we're assigned on options, but 18.77% dividend yield. So it's showing that we're going to make like $2,400 in May with like a 30 grand a year annual net income. Now, some of these are just like our individual portfolio because they're in there for a reason, and I'll explain the reason as we go through here. But the first one is by Curve. It's AMZP. We have 57 shares of that. Curve always produces excellent for us, so we have no complaints. Next is Coney by Yield Max. Not the best, but we bought it and it was raging. It is now surging because Coinbase, which is its underlying, has been added to the S&P 500. So we're hoping for a little more growth out of it. But we have 348 shares of that. Fiat, which is the inverse, we have 68.92 shares. I would never suggest anyone ever buying a inverse fund ever again. That was my biggest mistake. I knew better than to do it. I did it anyways. Now we're just going to collect the money for as long as it pays. Next is FZ Rocks. Now this is a product by Fidelity. It has zero cost, but they make their money basically by being able to hold your dividend. Instead of paying it out quarterly, they pay it out once a year. So some people say that's the offset. I'm not really worried about it. It has performed great for us over the last like 5 years. 1,670 shares. Now, we need to stop here because the reason we have FZ Rocks is because we are aging it. And for those of you who don't know what that means, basically you have to own this for more than a year in order to get the long-term capital gains. So this amount you see in here, we're building as a backup plan. So if something crazy happened or some giant bill came in, we could eat the 10% penalty by doing an early withdrawal from this traditional account and only have to pay long-term capital gains. Now, I live in Ohio. It's going to be different for everybody, but just to spin it all around, if we need to take money out of there, our state tax, our income tax, and our penalty, we could get money out for under 30%. It seems like a lot, but you're taking it out of an early retirement, a retirement account, so you're gonna pay. We don't plan on doing it, but you should always have a backup plan. So whether my wife is selling options in her traditional and adding to this position, or whether all these income funds are paying and she's adding to this position, we continually add to this position as a backup plan. Best case scenario, it's all aged out and we can just start adding extra withdrawals in about 9 years when her side of the account comes active. Or if we have to pull it out early, we'll pay the penalty. But let's keep going now. Misty, we have 574 shares. I got no problems with Misty. I believe in these accounts, we already are even or just about to turn even, break even. So everything after this will be profit. Next we have NVIDIA with 388 shares. I actually like NVIDIA, and I like that for long term we're holding it. SPACs. Now this is just a government money market account that Fidelity has. If you have uninvested cash sitting there, it lives in this. So we have 107 shares, 107,498 shares, I apologize. So that's basically saying we have that much at $1. So that can see kind of how much uninvested cash we have sitting in there that's being used for other things. So then we have TSLP, which curve is great, but I think any fund manager trying to sell on Tesla is just biting their nails half the time. And I really don't want any more Tesla exposure, honestly, in my income funds. This 53 is going to have to sit because we're not adding to it. TSMY, week A payer, it's okay, 110 shares. And then we have YMAG with 119 shares. And I believe in YMAG over the long term. I think the price will recover over time. It's just going to take a long time. And then it would also take Tesla having a pretty good bounce up to do it. So that's pretty much our holdings. On the retirement accounts, it is important to understand that we are only, my wife is like 9 years from being able to use this portfolio, and I think I am about 13 years. So most of the things we're doing are trying to build hers because she'll have access to them first. And she's also managing it as a backup plan. Like I said, every month putting a couple grand into FZ Rocks to let them start aging. So, should we decide later that we need some money taken out in an emergency situation or whatever, we can be down by that, like all in 30%. That's for early withdrawal penalty, that's taxes, that's state taxes, that's everything on the money. I don't think it'll come to that. I think we are positioned in a very good place. I will say that I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be spending all this on. You got to understand, you will come to a day where you realize your income or your ability, even at selling 4%, you're making a bunch of money. I mean, if you really put your nose to the grindstone and invest, the sky's the limit. All right, so now you got to see our retirement portfolio. A lot of people don't fully understand the power and value of building these funds up. Even in early retirement, this is your backup plan. I mean, yeah, you can always go back to work. That's just an honest fact. You can always go back to work. But if you're in a situation where, say, you got injured or something and you couldn't go back to work, having a fully funded emergency fund, having equity maybe in your property, and having a retirement account can save your butt. Now, the retirement accounts for us are honestly gravy because the system we've worked out to where we have an individual account and then use margin to sell options against that account to produce two incomes on one money has proven to be a solid strategy even in the latest dip. In fact, so when many other people were not making any money and their portfolio balances were going down, our portfolio balance did go down, but our distributions didn't go down that much. And we actually made more on the options because of the volatility that comes with the market when it's in panic like that. So it's just a different strategy. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's not better. It's just different because in a soaring market, index funds will smoke us. It's just how it is. Our portfolio value on covered call funds will not go up as high as a soaring market. It just won't. You're capped. But with that said, having a balance in our retirement accounts where we have a large amount in SPACs, just making whatever the, money market rate is, and we have a large amount in FZ Rocks, which is just a total market fund, and then having our covered call funds in there to consistently add more income, even if we already hit our limits for the year, it cannot put any more in, makes it for the perfect layout. And as my wife is banging out the options in her accounts, and I'm doing pretty decent in my Roth, the whole thing grows exponentially. If you are not contributing to retirement accounts, be it a 401k, be it an IRA, Roth IRA, Roth 401k, HSA, you are actually losing out because these are some of the most powerful tools, and the years you're going to need them is when they're available to you. All right? There is ways to get this money out early without so many penalties and taxes, but the truth is we are good. And we're feeling pretty good about this. So let me know down in the comments if your retirement accounts are starting to pop up the hill, what you think of retirement accounts, if you have any, and are you going to keep investing in them? Because we still do invest in them every year. We could be growing our individual faster if we didn't, but there's tax purposes, and there's also ensuring our future. We want it to be strong. We want to make sure that everything's going to work for us in the end so we can just enjoy life. And with that said, if you haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, go down, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos. Give us a like if you get a chance because it really does help the channel. And we will see you in the next one.